Hello folks, today we are changing a Pitman arm on a old 88 to 98 style GMC truck. This is a two-wheel driver, and luckily the Pitman arm is real easy to get to. The reason I'm replacing it is the boot ripped over there years ago. All the grease is coming out, now it's loose for right here. So it's shot, place it with a Moog. This is a Ray Bestis one. This one Ray Bestis and Dana Spicer, they were kind of going through their changes. And yeah, Ray Bestis took over. Now Ray Bestis parts are cheap crap, or AC Delco parts, don't buy either, they're junk. So we got our nut off. This is a 34mm or 1 5/16, and we got our castle nut off, which was a 22mm. There it is, right there. And there's a Pitman arm nut. Next step is I'm gonna break this joint first with the center link. These trucks are stupid. Well, this is actually a good design if you run into something. But they got this big old bumper in here, so you can't smash the center link if you run into a curb. It hits first. But in order with that, there's not much room. So when this center link drops, you hardly have like no room to get that thing out unless you unbolt the steering box or unbolt the idler arm. So when you take it out, you're gonna have to crack this first, break this, and then you're just gonna have to fish it up and down. And when you reinstall, you're gonna have to drop it in there first and then put it on the steering box. It should be no problem. Or if it is, I got 3 bolts in the idler arm, you gotta drop that so you can get that angle good. But that's what we're up against. Let's get to work. Got a pickle fork somewhere over here. I lost it already, and I gotta start whacking that. Alright, after struggling with our pickle fork, get this joint loose, as you say. Nice big gap over there. And one thing I'll tell you, do not swing a hammer when it's 95 degrees outside and humid. I almost just died, sweating like crazy. So we got a Pitman arm puller set up. And the 3/4 inch socket we gotta get. Okay, we didn't get too many action shots, but had to remove the idler arm like I said. It went, oh yeah, we gotta remove the idler arm. To remove it, right, basically just unbolt it. Because when you unbolt it, this whole center link is loose. See, it's hitting on our bracket now. That gives you a more square thing across, and you can snake that Pitman arm out. It's only 3 bolts, what are they, 16s? The only problem is the bolt holes. They go over here, you got little bolt holes, and you're gonna want to place a magnet on the bolt first before you try to pass through the frame, or else you're gonna drop it and you gotta fish it out through here. I've done that in the past. It's not fun. Just use a magnet, take your time, and you won't lose any. But there's our loose idler arm, and that's good. I did replace that a while ago. If anything, the arm's a little loose. That's the AC Delco part too. And on my other video I said, do not use AC Delco. That's holding up. And I want to show you this old Pitman arm. It's pretty scary. So like I said, it's a Ray Bestis or AC Delco Pitman arm, same deal. When I first was looking at it, I go, hey, it doesn't look that bad. But then I started turning it. It turns very, very free. And can't do it with 2 hands. But this thing wobbles all over the place, real loose. That's bad. It's junk. So we have our Moog one on. Hopefully it lasts a lot longer than this. You can also do the old tests like this for play. But it's junk. Do not buy an AC Delco or Ray Bestis. They're junk. That's my word of advice. Made in overseas probably, and it's a piece of crap. This one actually is made in USA, but I doubt it. This is a real cheap part. This is our Moog replacement over the cheap piece of crap. See, the cheap piece of crap actually has a bigger face than the top. The Moog one is considerably smaller. But what's better? I don't know. That wore out like 10,000 miles. This one will last 20,000. If you have any surface rust on those splines, you can just kind of run over it lightly with a little wire brush, like I did. Make it go on a lot easier. You get a more accurate torque later. But somehow I banged up this on the center link a little bit, so I filed it down. It'll be alright. There's our new one. Boom, like so. Force it on over. Get it over there. That's all there is to it for install until you tighten your nuts and put the idler arm back on. Clean up the nut too, your Pitman arm nut. I think the torque spec on that, it's like 180 or more, I don't know. I torqued it to 150, it's my torque wrench ends, and I just kept going around with impact a couple turns until like 2 threads are sticking out. I know, that's where about it was before. So it's on there pretty tight. Put some red Loctite in the threads too. Hopefully it won't back off, that'll be ugly. I still have to torque this castle nut spec and throw that idler arm on, so let me do that. Do the idler arm first. Make sure all your pieces on your Pitman arm are seated before you mess with that idler arm, or else you're not going to be square. It's going to be pretty difficult to line it all up. Alright, we're getting it. We got our bolts in. When you put your bolts in, just make it kind of extension like this. I forget how long this is, 6 inch, 5 inch, I don't know. Put a long socket on it. You can even put some paper in if you want. I didn't, and just put the bolts to the hole while you wiggle around your idler arm. You'll get them all in. I got all 3 in. I had some blue Loctite, so I'm going to put some blue Loctite back on it. And I think the torque spec is 74 foot-pounds, but I'm going to go inside and look because I want all my torque specs right before I let her down. Okay, we dug up some documentation if you care. The idler arm, bolts and nuts, whatever, they're 78 foot-pounds. Those are those 3 bolts over there. And you got this little castle nut. They call that the relay rod. I call it a center link, whatever. That thing is 40 foot-pounds on both sides, if you were to take that off. And the big old Pitman arm nut, that's 184 foot-pounds. So I'm close enough, I think. 150 plus a couple whacks with the impact. I mean, it's a little tighter, but a little tighter is better than a little loose. Alright, so let's go torque those things in 7. Alright, we be torque to spec over here. Steering's nice and tight. That's a new Pitman arm. We still got to tighten that nut. Don't forget to tighten that nut so it holds everything together. Yeah, like I said earlier, this is an AC Delco Pitman arm, but I bought this way back when, maybe 2006. So maybe it was a better piece back in the day. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's not loose. Tie rod ends too. I think they're Spicer tie rod ends, and I put Spicer ball joints in this thing too. Still holding up. Hope so. Hope they still will. Rust. People are saying that New York cars are rusty. This is a New York car. Not that bad. Doors are a little rusted in the bottom. Some cab corners starting up. Maybe the oil leak's keeping it away. I think that's the rear main. When you tighten tapered fit suspension parts, if they have a lock nut like this, it's gonna be a pain and the joint's gonna want to spin, so you're gonna need like a C-clamp or something or a big pair of pliers. When it's a castle nut, usually they'll turn on like butter because the you know, the cotter key is acting as its locking function rather than the threads on the lock nut, so it's gonna be less resistance while turning it. So we're just gonna turn this until it's tight with the wrench, and then we're gonna torque it. Just want to seat it nice by hand. I don't like to really seat them with the impact gun, but you can spin them, and you're spinning metal on metal inside the socket, because you know when this turns, the stud is turning, not the stud isn't turning with the inside this metal piece. That's just gonna wear it out over time. It only turns inside this joint, like the old one. You said it was spins very freely like that. Look at that. Woo! That's how it works. It goes back and forth. I torqued the nut to 40 foot-pounds, but look, the holes did not line up. So what do? I'll tell you what you do. You never go back to line it up. What you do? You go a little more. Put your wrench on. Gotta really crank it. Go a little more. Until you reach. You're gonna need 2 hands to give it one little bop, but I'm almost there. I think we're lined up. Maybe. See if our cotter key fits in there. Always use a new cotter key, cotter pin. If your kit doesn't come with one, if they shortchanged you, go buy one. But luckily, I got one. I like to put them in this way, you know, because the wind of the vehicle will blow it out going the other way. Yeah, right. But that's how I do it. Put the long end on the top, right through. Now I just gotta bend her up. When you think you're good, grease everything, and lower your vehicle. You got your vehicle down on the road. Ford. Take it for a ride, see if it's okay, and that's it. Change your Pitman arm. Steering's going to be a lot tighter than this sloppy mess over here. And as always, if you like this video or loose Pitman arms, please subscribe, because I have a center link that will be going not in this car but in Impala pretty soon. So we're going to make a video on that, how to change your center link. We got tons of parts to put on. One more thing on this part, which is ridiculous. This cap moves too. Look at that. This is such a crappy part. Do not use a Rebestis or a AC Delco Pitman arm. This is what it is right here. It's the same company makes it. AC Delco, Rebestis. Look at this thing. Cheap piece of shit. For like 40 bucks. The Moog is cheaper. This is ridiculous. This thing has 10,000 miles on it.